Good day, everyone. Today, we are going to report the authentic or creative assessment in Araling Panlipunan, wherein we will tackle the traditional assessment, portfolio assessment, performance task, and a scoring rubric. But before that, let us know what is an authentic assessment. According to John Mueller, authentic assessment is a form of assessment in which students are asked to perform real-world tasks that demonstrate meaningful application of essential knowledge and skills. Also, authentic assessment is a performance assessment called upon the examinee to demonstrate specific skills and competencies, that is, to apply the skills and knowledge they have mastered. This is according to Richard J. Stiggins. An authentic assessment usually includes a task for students to perform and a rubric by which their performance on the task will be evaluated. There are alternative names for authentic assessment. Authentic assessment, sometimes called as performance assessment, alternative assessment, and direct assessment. Why use authentic assessment? Authentic assessments are direct measures. Teachers do not just want students to know the content of the disciplines when they graduate, but they want them to be able to use the acquired knowledge and skills in the real world. Authentic assessments capture constructive nature of learning. Teachers do not simply feed knowledge, but teachers need to construct own meaning of the world using information that they have gathered and taught on experiences with the world. Authentic assessments integrate teaching, learning, and assessment. When presented with a real-world problem to solve, students are learning in the process of developing a solution. Teachers are facilitating the process, and the student's solution to the problem becomes an assessment of how well the students can meaningfully apply the concepts.
Good day, everyone. Today we will be discussing about traditional assessment. So what is traditional assessment? Traditional assessment, or the conventional method of assessment that has been followed since a long time, is what we call traditional assessment. So it is a simple approach that generally utilizes a pen and paper or based examination methods. So, example of traditional assessment, these traditional assessment methods are also used in social study assessment. So, the first one, the examples are multiple choice, true or false, or matching type. These assessments are generally used in social studies, for it fits to the social studies subject. These assessments are easy to grade but only test isolated application, facts, or memorize data at lower level thinking skills. So this assessment is really fits to social studies, because we all know that social study subjects are more on facts and memorization or memorized data. So these are advantages and disadvantages of traditional assessment. So the advantages are, first, traditional assessment evaluates the learning and retaining capacity of a child. So it analyzes how much of the provided material or syllables has been acquired by the students. So the second one, the teacher gets a preview of a student's knowledge conveniently. It also helps educators or teachers to compare students' performance of the students' performances. The third one, students develop their retaining and understanding capabilities. So they also learn to recognize and reconstruct their intellect and build their cognitive abilities. This approach is overall more simple, straightforward, and time-saving. So the teachers are efficiently able to manage more children, lesser amount of students is quite reliable and fixed. And these are the disadvantages of the traditional assessment method. The first one, it limits the student's potential and does allow out of the box thinking. Hence, this method cannot be deemed to be a very creative one. Number two, it just provides a surface preview of a student's capabilities as per the norms set by the regular curriculum. So not every individual may be suited to particular format, and traditional assessment are very restrictive. 3. Students get limited options. 4. Students do not develop extensive comprehensive skills. And the last one, it is more theory-based approach. So this method is not very diversified, and hence it fails in catering to the unique needs of every individual. And that is the traditional assessment method.
Next is portfolio assessment. What is portfolio? A portfolio is a type of assessment. Portfolios often tell compelling stories of the growth of the students' talents and showcase their skills through a collection of authentic performances. A portfolio is assessed and graded based on how the students understands the principles of the academic discipline. The process of assessment is authentic because students learn and practice how to apply important knowledge and skills for authentic purposes. Portfolio is a collection of student work that can exhibit a student's effort, progress, and achievements in various areas of curriculum. Portfolio assessment asks students or teachers to collect work products that show growth over a specific period of time. Examples of work products include collections of student essays, artwork, or reading logs. And we use scoring guides and rubrics to score portfolios. Portfolio assessment enables students to reflect their real performance, to show their weak and strong domain, and to observe students' progress during the learning process, and encourages students to take responsibilities for their own learning. So portfolio is one way of seeing a student's development, one way of appreciating students' development, and knowing what should be done to improve students' talents and skills. Now, there are 3 types of portfolio. First is the showcase portfolio. It contains products that demonstrates how capable the owner is at any given moment. So, showcase portfolio showcases the works and products of the students on what way they excel and on what way they are and on what field rather they are weak. Second is the assessment portfolio. It contains products that can be used to assess the owner's competences. So examples of this assessment portfolio is the collecting of students' essays and artworks. Then last is development portfolio. This show how the owner has developed and therefore demonstrates growth. This type of portfolio often also contain products from various stages of this process. Stages in which feedback has been received and possibly also products from work still in progress. So development portfolio shows how the students developed their skills and talents. Development portfolio is one way of seeing the students' development.
The next one is the performance test. It is a learning activity or assessment that asks the students to perform and to demonstrate their knowledge, understanding, and proficiency. It is held a tangible product and or performance that serve as evidence of learning. So all the assessments check the mastery of learning and show the students' progress, but the authentic assessment is different on traditional assessment because they are task-based. So tasks may assess the students' ability and to apply what they have learned. Authentic assessment take more time to complete than traditional assessment. Unlike a selected response item like multiple choice or matching type that asks the students to select from the given alternatives, the performance task presents a situation that calls for learners to apply their learning in context. So example for that is that instead of giving a student a quiz in Araling Panlipunan with a multiple choice questions, consider them and assign them a writing test such as a brochure, journals, research papers, or a comic strip storybook and more. So there are 6 types of activities for assessments in performance test. First is the presentation or the reportings. So it involves talking in front of a group of people to explain an idea, system, process, recent performance, forecast, or other topics. So the person who does the explaining is called the presenter and may use visual aids to help convey his or her message more effectively, especially in Araling Panlipunan. The second one is performances. It is one kind of collaborative activities that can be used as a performance test. Students can create, perform, and provide critical response. Example for it is dancing, recital, and dramatic enactment. Also, poetry interpretation and storytellings. The third one is the projects. Students might be asked to complete reports, diagrams, and maps. Teachers can also choose to have students work individually or in groups. It requires the students to apply their knowledge and skills while completing the assigned tasks. They can be aligned with a higher levels of creativity, analysis, and synthesis. The fourth one is the exhibits and fairs. Teachers can expand the idea of performance activities by letting the students create exhibits and fairs for students to display their work. Examples include things like history fairs to art exhibitions. Students work on a product or item that will be exhibited publicly. And the fifth one is what we call the debates. So the debate in the classroom is one form of a performance task that teaches the students about a varied viewpoints and opinions. So skills associated with debate included the research, media, and argument literacy, reading comprehension, evidence evaluation, public speaking, and civic skills. The sixth one is the student portfolios. Student portfolios is also a part of performance stats. It includes the items that the students have created and collected over a period. So a portfolio can provide the students with a lasting selection of artifacts that they can use later in their academic career. So reflections is one and included in a student portfolios in which the students may take a note of their growth based on the materials in the portfolio.
What is a scoring rubric? A rubric for assessment is a tool used to interpret and grade students' work against criteria and standards. A rubric is handed out to students during an assessment task briefing to make them aware of all expectations related to the assessment task. There are two types of a scoring rubric. First is the holistic rubric, and second is the analytic rubric. What is a holistic rubric? A holistic rubric is a single criteria rubric or a one-dimensional rubric used to assess participants' overall achievement on an activity or item based on predefined achievement levels. The performance descriptions are written in paragraphs and usually in full sentences. The analytic rubric. The analytic rubric is a two-dimensional rubrics with levels of achievements as columns and assessments criteria as rows. This rubric is written in a table form. I have here an example of a scoring rubric. This is an example of an analytic rubric. This is written in a table form. Next, we have here a holistic rubric. These are the two types of a scoring rubric in a research paper.
So these are the 5 examples of authentic creative assessment in Araling Panlipunan. First, we have the journal. Second is portfolio. Third is oral interview. Fourth is the experiment demonstration. And the fifth is the writing. So let's talk about the journal. So journal is the teacher can use students with written collections of students' reflection of learning. So that is their journal. So next is the portfolio. So the portfolio is a collection of students' work that represent the best of his learning efforts. So that is the portfolio. Next is the oral interview. So the oral interview is the teacher asks their students questions about personal background, activities, reading, and other interests. And next is the experiment demonstration. So the experiment demonstration is the students demonstrate understanding by performing a task and completing its using necessary steps. So that is the experiments of demonstration. And the last is the writing. So the writing is the students produce their own works and demonstrate their knowledge in AC4 reference papers. So that is the writing. So those are the 5 examples of the authentic creative assessment in Araling Panlipunan.
Advantages and disadvantages in authentic assessment of Araling Panlipunan in traditional portfolio, performance task, and scoring rubrics. For the advantages, first, traditional assessment evaluates the learning and retaining capacity of a child. Second, the teacher gets a preview of a child. Third, students develop the retaining and understanding capabilities. Fourth, this approach is overall more simple, straightforward, and time-saving. Fifth, assessment portfolios promote communication between teachers and students. Next, portfolio assessment enables students to reflect the real performance. 7. Helps students likely to be more interesting and motivating. 8. Performance-based assessment can empower students by giving them freedom to make choices. 9. Rubrics help ensure instructors are grading fairly. Lastly, make scoring more accurate and biased and consistent. Next, for the disadvantages, number 1, it limits a student's potential and thus allow out-of-the-box thinking. Second, students get limited options. Third, students do not develop extensive comprehensive skills. Fourth, It just provides a surface preview of a student's capabilities as per the norms set by the regular curriculum. Fifth, performance assessments are that it's not easily calculated. It's hard to judge students' learning. Next, it can be very time-consuming for teacher to organize and evaluate the content of portfolios. 7. Limits skills and knowledge that is assessed. And number 8, difficult to assess what is relevant and important among different educators. For number 9, grading challenges. And lastly, subjectivity in scoring.
So these are the 10 keywords. So first, we have the constructive. It is serving a useful purpose, tending to build up, helping to develop or improve something. The second one, we have the assessment. It is the evaluation or estimation of the nature, quality, or ability of a someone or something. Third one, we have the authentic, which means you're true to your own personality, values, and spirit, regardless of the pressure that you're under to act. So the fourth one is creative. It is relating to or involving the imagination or original ideas, especially in the production of an artistic work. Creativity is also defined as the tendency to generate or recognize ideas, alternatives, or possibilities that may be useful in solving problems, communicating with others, and entertaining ourselves and others. The fifth one, we have the traditional. It is existing in or as a part of a tradition or long established. Traditional is something that is in keeping with long-standing tradition, style, or custom. The sixth one, we have the portfolio. A portfolio is a compilation of materials that exemplifies your beliefs, skills, qualifications, education, training, and experience. In other terms, portfolio is a flat case used for carrying loose sheets of paper or a combination of investment or samples of completed works. The seventh one, we have the performance task. A performance task is any learning activities or assessment that asks students to perform or to demonstrate their knowledge, understanding, and proficiency. Number 8, we have the scoring rubrics. A rubric is a scoring tool that explicitly represents the performance expectations for an assignment or a piece of work. 9, we have the evaluated. It is a form of an idea or the amount, number, or a value of assess. Evaluate is defined as to judge the value or worth of someone or something. And for the last, we have the 10th. For the last, we have the alternative. It is defined as something that does not conform to existing or mainstream standard. It is also defined as an option. So that's all. Thank you.